Please welcome to the stage Vicente Fox, former president of Mexico, and Don Salazar, chairman of the U.S. Hispanic Business Council.
I guess we're on. Good. Bienvenidos a Utah, Señor Presidente. It's a pleasure to have you back, sir. And it's an honor to be here with you, especially since our countries and culture are getting even closer. So with that, we have plenty of questions for you. With your permission, we get started?
En español.
En español. At the end of World War II, Mexico was recognized as a critical trading partner for the United States. Today, Mexico is America's #1 trading partner. As chairman of the United States Hispanic Council and also a business owner, I realize the importance of cross-border trade. So my question is, sir, how will enhanced trade relations between our countries unlock new opportunities for American entrepreneurs?
Well, first, morning, America, morning traders of the world. We have moved the world economy up to new heights through trading. And about trading, Mexico and United States, we're approaching the $1 trillion trading. Trillion is 1 million of millions of exchange that we have together. And Mexico is not the little guy on the backyard. It's a one-to-one trading that we have. We export half of that trillion to United States, and we buy from United States that other half of a trillion. So it's incredible. We're on a one-to-one basis. And if we take Utah, for instance, and Guanajuato, and we could call it Guanayuta, because we need one-to-one exchanges. We export from Guanajuato $35 billion based on food items and based on the automobile industry. So strong trader. Guanajuato is the 5th largest economy in Mexico. Now, NAFTA. Long time ago, we had that dream together. We catch the ball later, President Bush and myself, which, by the way, I question whether it is better being the first one on the stage or being the last one like President Bush is. So, we have NAFTA very strong up to today, but has not solved the labor, the migration issue. We were 1 to 20 exchange rate 15, 20 years ago, and we're still the same, 1 to 20. And that explains migration is an economic issue, because if from one day to the next, you can just swim through the river, or you can just jump those high walls that President established time ago. And you know who I'm talking to, the wall. Okay, so you learn to swim or you learn to jump high, and you move your income from $1 to $20. So that explains why we have this strong migration issue. And this is a product of NAFTA that has helped to reduce that gap a little bit. But we have yet a long, long way to go.
Thank you. Immigration has been greatly politicized here in the U.S., just as you said. However, I believe immigrants are critical to America, contributing to both our, thank you. Contributing to both our culture and our country. So my question is, how will strong economic ties influence perceptions of immigration in both our countries?
Well, one issue is tied to the other. And I remember when Bush 43 took over, he decided to start his first international visit into Mexico. Every other time before it was to Canada, the first visit. So this was the first time that we got the President of the United States coming to San Cristobal. This is the community where Martha, my dear wife, live in the state of Guanajuato. And he came to our place, this small ranch, food production, and he went to visit my mother. And my mother was so exciting seeing all those 12 limos coming off-road to dusty roads in San Cristobal. And then he came in and he gave a big kiss to my mother. So my mother just diluted. But the issue was one and only one. It was to fix the migration issue, to accommodate this issue to be back to being the best asset that this nation has. And Mexico has provided since a lot of labor to this nation and has made this nation productive and generates a PIB, a gross product. The 45 million people, million Mexicans that are here, they produce a 3 times larger gross product than the 120 million produced in Mexico. So it has provoked a big change, but we're running out of labor lately. We're full employment today. And so the migration into United States has reduced significantly coming from Mexico. Now people come from rest of Central America, Latin America, the Caribbean. That's where the flows of people are coming now here as labor, and they come through Mexico. One day, pretty soon, 2030, Mexico will not have the capacity to provide labor to this nation. So it would either have to come from somewhere else, or we would have to work very hard on reducing labor needs, maybe changing to robots and information technologies. So that's the big change that is coming. Mexico will not have the capacity to export labor. We will absorb 100 of it in Mexico itself.
Thank you, Mr. President. Critical American industries like agriculture, construction, manufacturing, and engineering rely on the immigrant workforce. So my question is, how can we revamp our visa program so these industries can effectively utilize the immigrant workforce?
Well, that's what has been happening. And the demand for that labor, highly qualified Mexican labor, is here in the United States and expanding. We never thought that would happen at this time of the two nations associated in NAFTA. But labor is the number one issue. And migration, unfortunately, has not been dealt with. Because half of those that are coming into United States, they do come because there are jobs and there are employment that they can take. But half of them do it illegally. And that's something that we have to correct. And maybe today we speak again with President Bush and try to tackle this problem, and same with Guanajuato. If we establish a relationship between Guanajuato and Utah, I think us two together can make a change on this issue.
Yes, very good. Mr. President, e-commerce enables entrepreneurs to market goods and services instantaneously, as you know. The advantage for small business is using platforms like Amazon and Mercado Libre to reach consumers worldwide. So my question is, how has the growth of e-commerce benefited Mexico?
Well, it has, but maybe I have to say that what we are building, and it's not what we would like to have, is a monopoly on the trading. These giants are taking 90% of the pie. So we need to work with the small businesses to develop new platforms or to come directly into the market. Like we done convincing Walmart not to buy from wholesalers, but to buy directly from producers. Like we do in our place, in our farm, we only produce exportable food products, but now we have the opportunity to do it directly. So margins increase and jobs increase, and I think that's much better. But in the meantime, we have to use these platforms as a way to come and export worldwide.
President Fox, Utah boasts a thriving Hispanic population. In fact, 15% of its residents identify as Hispanic. So my question is, how do you see the strengthening of economic ties between America and Mexico impacting communities and businesses here in Utah?
Well, it certainly does, and we should try it. We should try not only to be on the bulk of the extraordinary exchange we're doing, but to go one by one. I think that Utah has clear opportunities for Guanajuato and the same the other way around. So I believe strongly on trading. Very unfortunately today, we're getting the kind of governments that nobody would like to have. But this is what is spreading out in Latin America, and we might be losing our democratic and freedom values on the American dream. We might be losing it throughout Latin America because this kind of governments do not make any contribution to the number one instrument to progress, which is education. I think education should be on the very top of the line of competitiveness. And Google is right here, and I say to Google, come stronger into Latin America with your education programs, because you have the capacity to massify and the capacity to bring opportunities to everybody. In Latin America and in Mexico, only 1/3 of kids have the opportunity to be in university. Only 30%. So the other 70% does not have that opportunity. And we must work through any kind of educational methodology or systems that can massify knowledge and bring it to every single kid in Latin America. That is my dream, maybe as strong as Martin Luther King's was.
Thank you. Utah has led the way in creating programs to encourage innovation, such as things like this. So my question is, What opportunities do you see for collaboration between Mexico and Utah in emerging fields like renewable energy, biotechnology, and of course, artificial intelligence?
Well, I think opportunities are right there. We just have to tackle them. We just heard the great governor of this state, young guy, smart guy, likable guy, and he's gonna try it again, second term, and he will win. and then we should get to this nation young leadership. We have two adults over 80 years old running this nation. I'm 82. I retired. Those two have to retire and give opportunities to these young, brilliant, aggressive, new leaders that America has. And we will notice the change, believe me. We will notice the change.
Thank you. And a follow-up, sir. How can our governments facilitate innovation and create jobs on both sides of the border?
Our government here in Utah, our government in United
Mexico,
States?
yes. Both.
Okay. Well, today, of course, governments are important, but they are not responsible for what we, the business community, have to do. It's us that can make that trade balance be incredible to the future. It's us, the people, the corporate world, that can make the technological change that we see coming for 2030, for 2050. I am half of myself totally renewed, recharged. I have a, ¿cómo se llama? Un corazón de
Pacemaker.
a pacemaker, which somebody has control of it on his computer, and he can shut me off at any time he wants. Number two, I have 4 extensors, or I don't know how you call them, for my veins and my heart.
Yes,
I had totally renewed the stomach, and this happened just a month ago. And here I am, still walking, still thinking, still hoping that we will have a much better world pretty soon, that we will have this kind of agreements one-to-one, like that one we had from nation to nation time ago, NAFTA. That was the first economic bloc in the world right after European Union. And we have progress, and we have moved a long way ahead. And that's why North America today is the leading part of the world. We have to meet the challenge from the East. We have to keep Western civilization values together and dynamic. These 3 nations, Canada, United States, and Mexico, so-called North America. This is the future of the world. This is the center of the world. And we should not accept that this center of the world moves to the East, because there's different values, different thinking, and different philosophies. The Western civilization has to stay on the scene. It has to be the #1 part of the world.
Well said, Mr. President. Your answers are always impeccable, as always. Just one last thing. If you had one thing to say to the people of Utah and our audience, what would that be, sir?
That I love my wife, Marta. And that love moves mountains, even the Rocky Mountains. So love is what we need in this world. Love is what we need in Mexico, in government. And that's why today we have an indigenous lady running for president next June the 2nd. We're going to win, because Mexico needs freedom, needs democracy, and needs love. Gracias.
With that, sir, thank you again from the bottom of our hearts. And again, thanks for coming back to Utah. We love you here. Thank you.
Gracias.